Welcome to round 1.5. I think is what we're gonna call that, right?
Yeah, 1.5
Yeah,
version point 2. Um, yeah, welcome back to the podcast, to the stream,
yeah.
to
I mean,
episode
we're
2.
we're episode two. We're getting there. We are now live on YouTube and we're live on Twitch. Next,
Nice.
next we're gonna go live on Facebook. Actually, if you follow me on Facebook, we're actually on my personal channel right now, going live. It's fine because it's all personal. This is what I want to do. I'm gonna work on going live on our actual um, Facebook page, but for now, it is what it is. So yeah, man, we've had such a like busy, busy last couple of days working on pumping out dragons, and we've been doing a lot of talking. Yeah, what have you kind of come across, or how did your week look?
Well, I'm hoping that chapter 2 is like the better sequel to chapter 1. Um, you think about uh, different TV shows and movies. Like I think the first episode was the pilot, and we're jumping right in, man. Usually, like the episode 2 is when shit starts to get going.
Yeah,
And I know this week you and I have been really hammering out some details,
yeah,
but we've been very cognizant of like not going full force to save the content for this stream, and so we're excited to jump into things, but just so everybody's aware, just as a refresher again, for those of you who didn't watch the first chapter, really Board to Dev is going to be kind of two uh, different things that we'll be doing. One is we'll be live streaming and um, kind of, if you will, like recording the uh, weekly activities as Jason and I work to create a tabletop game from scratch.
yeah,
um, we've got tons of ideas. Jason successfully completed an amazing journey to get Unicorns and Zombies, a tabletop card game, out and about and available now on unicornsandzombies.com. Free plug. But
yeah,
we want to kind of bring you along the journey of the creative process from beginning to end and see if we can get this baked and out there into the hands of the public. The second component of this will be reserved for just talking about board games.
yeah,
The reason why we are doing what we're doing, right, Jason, is because we like that shit. We like the creative process. We like talking to other creators and artists. So from time to time, we'll have a variety of different guests on, from people who have created stuff to those who have worked on a variety of different projects, to just sometimes just talking about like new upcoming board games that we like to play.
yeah.
So I think it's just kind of a mix of everything. So for those of you who are watching for the first time, that's kind of what we're doing.
Yeah, welcome. And just to kind of as like a quick update from the last time too, we for sure passion of this of development is like massive, right? Like it's just something that I mean we've gone through one, but I'm excited because after episode one already have has gotten interest in having another developer jump on board. And for those of you that don't know, I'll give you a little backstory. When I was creating the game, I created the game first before I knew what the art was going to be. And so Stacking Dragons, which is the game that we're working through this first through volume one of Board to Dev, is we're working through Stacking Dragons, and we're doing a little bit different. And by that I mean we're doing the art and the game at the same time. But one of the guests that I'm super pumped to have on is BJ, who is the original artist for Unicorns and Zombies. That was cool. I talked to him. He's gonna do. We'll probably do it in a couple weeks, I think.
Sweet.
Yeah, and then another guy's name is Clay Hargrave, and he created a game called Godspeed, and PandasaurusGames.com is where you can find that. I'm giving him a plug. He doesn't know yet, but yeah, we'll get him on here and go from there.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm excited to get into things this week. Again, the second chapter. Um, so let's catch up to speed on where we're at as of today. Again, our project has been solidified as in terms of the name, and that is Stackin' Dragons. We were excited yet last week to show you the logo that we're almost finalized. And be nice again, Jason, if you want to kind of throw that up on the screen to show everybody kind of what that logo will look like.
Oh,
Um, but we ended last episode kind of talking through the concept and the mechanics of what this tabletop game would be, some of the art style, and all of those things. Um, so I think we want to jump back into the overall mechanics of the game again and the concept, and hopefully by the end of this chapter, we're able to finalize some things and move on. We're also excited to share with you some additional concept dragons that Jason created to go along with the
yeah.
multitude of different card concepts.
Let's do the. Let me put it up real quick. This is the logo, just so you guys can see that. I'll remove our faces. That is the Stacking Dragons logo so far. So pretty awesome about that. But yeah. So also, quick side note: this is an audio podcast as well. But if you want to get the most out of it, we just got a chat from YouTube. Very much recommend you play Mafia 2. The script of this game is excellent, and many people say Mafia 2 is much better than Mafia 3. All
Okay.
right,
All right.
yeah, for sure. We'll definitely let's write that down. Easy to pick up, I'm assuming. Chris, you wanna notate that? Actually, I'm
Yeah.
gonna let me put this in our what's it called? Uh, let's add it to games to check out on our stack and drag.
Okay.
I'll just make a note of it real quick until I can figure out what we're gonna do. That's
All
episode
right.
3. When we what's great about this podcast is as we continue through different types of podcasts and going, it'll eventually get better and better.
Yeah.
just from a stream perspective. But thank you very much. Unfortunately, I don't know what your name is. It's not in English, and I can't read that. But we will definitely check out. I don't know if we can play it, Chris. If you want to write it down, we'll figure
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
we'll figure out how
Yeah.
to get a copy of that, and then we'll give you our insight on that.
We're always looking for new games to play, and that's part of the creative process in developing tabletop games is playing other people's games and talking with different creators and fans of different games. So we're excited to try anything. So please continue to suggest those things as we continue on.
Yeah.
Um, I think we should maybe jump into again really quickly broad overview of where we stand with the concept of the game.
Okay.
It's a stacking card concept, stacking dragons out of one single deck, up to two to four players max. And the idea behind the game is the first player to stack 10 dragons on top of one another, 10 dragon cards to reach the castle wins the game. And the elements of it are that players can play different cards, attack cards, defense cards, and then also randomly draw cards that are kind of castle attack. And so that would impact people's stacks by turn. So it's a lot of competitiveness, a lot of fun. And again, going back to our kind of general principles, we also want to make it very easy to play. So to get the creative juices flowing, what we want to do is started creating these types of dragons in a very quirky, cartoony type of style to coincide with the logo. So perhaps before we start a discussion around the mechanics, if you want to, Jason, show some of the initial artwork of some of the dragons we've created thus far, or you've created.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. I'm updating our thing. Okay, let me get this thing ready. Um, so kind of working through it. We'll just give a quick overview of the art. One thing I really want to talk about a little bit before we get into the art is that's been my clutch, my thing that holds me back the most, which is like really just wanting like the world's most perfect art to be on a board game, and we don't have the team to do that. I mean, generally speaking, like it's a 2-man team, and we're doing what we can. And so I decided that I was gonna step out and just throw myself into drawing and draw it. And some of these dragons look better than the other ones, but all of them are gonna make it into the game because it's just a passion. I think it's great. But let me switch over to that. So we have it up on the screen now. Yeah, so you can see. So there, I think if you're on the last podcast, we went through the dragons. There have been some new ones. Here, I think I don't know if this guy was part of it last time. He might.
Yeah, we only had a few last time, so
Okay.
there's quite a few.
Yeah. So a lot sassier dragons. Kind of just going for that like weird look that was kind of in existence in Unicorns and Zombies. Again, this is kind of like how do you do it? This one has got. I left the white background on this one. He's just got like hands trying to grab him. So yeah, that's part of it. So what else we got? Yeah, I think since the last we only had those 3, so we're gonna continue to do more. So
Yeah.
yeah. So okay, so Chris, we were I think we're trying to decide when you think about like I think we're still working around how big should this deck be. I think that's kind of like our main one right now, right? Is like, well, okay, if we're gonna do this, like, how big is it? How big does the deck need to be? Is it gonna be like standard, like 40, 60? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think it all depends on. I think we need to figure out, maybe solidify the concept and how many card types we want. I
Yeah.
think that if we determine the amount of card types, that will give us probably better clarity on how big of a deck we want.
Okay.
So maybe we jump into like the variety of different card types that we had from last episode, and start to work down the list of what is working and what isn't working. Maybe we can land the plane a little bit on that.
Okay. So when we go to the card types, do we decide what do we decide on
that? We hadn't really decided. So obviously you got the dragon cards. I think then we said that there would be attack cards, there would be defense cards. We introduced the concept of like castle cards, and then we started talking a little bit about like the hidden cards.
Yeah.
So that was something we talked about a little bit.
Okay.
Quite honestly, I think that. I do like the element of random like action cards that have to be played that can't be used in a hand.
Okay.
So I think we call them castle defense. We can call them what you will. But I think castle defense action cards that impact the entire game.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we may, and then we have the hidden cards. I don't know if we want to like not maybe just make it super simple and just do attack defense and castle defense instead of the hidden cards.
I don't think we should do hidden cards. It gets too complicated.
Too complex. Okay.
I think that you can have that as a mechanic in the game, right? And then that's denoted by a symbol on a card or something.
Yeah. Okay. So then, if you're in agreement, we can start working through the attack, the defense, and then what do you feel about the action cards? The castle defense must be played.
Yeah, so castle defense is a version of an action card in this game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So once drawn by the player, it has to be played and it impacts the entire board.
Okay, and then also, Chris, just a heads up, we're doing everything on paper, which, side note, real quick, pause. If you're developing any kind of game, find your workflow before you even start fucking dealing with the game. So whether it's you're using Slack, paper, whatever it is, you need something to keep that thing going, you know?
Yep.
So anyways, if you update anything on paper, Chris, everyone will see it as well. So, okay. So looking at under card types on the paper document, we have the dragons. These are defense cards, attack, defense. So we're getting rid of. Are we getting rid of weapon and the army cards? I think would just be too much. What do you think?
Yeah. Let's keep it simple. Let's start attack defense, and then castle, whatever name we want to come up with, castle defense, castle action, and I think we eliminate everything else. So outside of dragons, you got 3 additional card types.
So attack, defense, castle defense. Okay.
Yep.
So let me get rid of these. And then we'll do. Also, too, if you're watching this video and you say anything about my spelling, I'm just going to agree with you. Okay. So basically what we have right here is dragons, attack, defense, and castle defense. Castle defense is things that have to be removed to get onto the castle, right?
Well,
is that kind of like a mechanic you're thinking of, or what are you thinking?
No, I'm just thinking that's a general card that's in the deck that you draw, possibly, and the card has to be played.
Got it. Okay. So action card. So we'll stop calling them action cards.
Yeah, so castle defense action cards that impact the entire game, so impact the entire board, every player.
Okay. Okay. And then what else?
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think we should build out the game with the notion of outside of dragon cards, you have attack, defense, castle defense, and see how that plays out. And if it's not complex enough, then we could start to integrate additional cards that lead to different mechanics. But I think I think those 3.
Okay, cool. So card types. All right. So what do we have under here for attack cards? Dragon Fireball. Okay, so I think the big piece is if you have. Okay, so let's do. Um, let's go to game mechanics, and then we'll start a new section.
Game mechanics.
Yeah. So okay, picture getting ready to play this game. What does it look like?
I'm putting on my headbands, my wristbands, 2 cans of beer.
Absolutely.
And playing some badass 80s music and going and get myself in the mindset.
Okay, cool.
So we'll put that in the instructions.
Yeah. Headband, mindset, get ready to go. All right.
Well, we said that we wanted. You could play it anywhere on pretty much any type of table surface. So how I envisioned it really is, we talked about maybe some mats, but initially
Yeah.
I think build the game if you don't need mats, and then maybe think about, hey, if we included that, how cool of a concept that would be. But
Right.
then just a standard deck.
Right. Okay. I'm struggling a little bit on the deck, but I think the deck. And if anyone's watching, you have ideas on decks, you can also throw that in the comments. I mean, this is we're building this with you guys. We want you guys to be part of this. Okay, so I think that the deck. We said we were gonna draw 2 cards every turn, right? Let's do
2 guards every turn. Yep.
Someone's fucking learned how to use their fucking horn around my apartment. We draw 2 cards every turn. You start with 3 cards.
Yep.
And then is there a max hand size? There is, right? 5, right? Is that what we said?
I think we said 5 or 7.
Let's do 7.
Okay.
Just for
I think
the
7
helmet.
is good. Yep.
Okay, so we draw 2 card every turn.
What's magic? 7?
Yeah. Yeah, it's 7.
7 cards.
Okay, so we also know that this is one deck with all the cards. So it's a draw-based game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we know that we're gonna have we're each gonna have like 7 cards to start. No, 3 cards to start. You draw every 2, and you can't have more than 7. So you have to discard those the cards after the turn, right? So if you have 6 cards in your hand, right, and it's your turn to draw 2, you can draw 2. You just have to play down to 7.
No, I think you.
Or if
Yeah,
you have
so
if you have
you
6,
draw 2. You
Yeah.
draw 2. You can only play 1 dragon, and either 1 attack or 1 defense per turn.
right.
And you must only be at 7 cards. So there's a you can't hang on to everything.
Okay.
You'll have to play something at some point.
Yes, that's good. So what we know so far: draw 2 cards, start with 3, hand size 7, 1 deck, all the cards, draw based game. Can only play 1 card of each type per turn, right?
Right.
And then we'll put in here unless otherwise stated by card. Yeah. Okay. Now I got the ice cream truck. If you can hear that shit in the background, let me know.
I can't hear it, but I'd be super excited to hear the ice cream truck.
Yeah, well, I don't blame you. Okay, cool. I like that. So now, is this a game? Is this a game where you have an action and response time? So you just drew 3 cards. You're like, cool. I have a fucking dragon. I'm gonna play it, right? Because you can play it right away, right?
Yeah.
So do you say like, I'm gonna play this card. So you drew 3 cards to start, and then you play a card from your hand there before you can draw, right? So you don't draw. Like the game starts, everyone starts with 3 cards in their hand, and then whoever goes first does not draw a card. Right.
Right. Where everyone gets 3, you have to play. You don't have to play any. You could play 1. You could play up to 2. Yeah.
Okay. And then, what do we say? Let's see. Okay. All right. So if you're into the middle of the game, right? And I'm imagining you and I playing. You're going first. You're like, cool. I'm gonna lay a dragon down. What has prepped you to say like, all right, I'm gonna lay a dragon down. Like where are you laying that down on?
Your stack.
Right, but where's your stack?
In front of you. Because you got to get to 10 dragons to win the game. So you have your stack, and the intention is to stack 10 and to defend or attack other players from doing that. So think about it this way, like you and I are playing, right? Let's say we're deep into the game. I've got 5 dragons stacked. You've got 7.
Yeah.
I stack a dragon. So I'm now at 6. And now you have some cards in your hand, but perhaps you don't have any attack cards. But you're like, hey, I'm at 7. I have a dragon in my hand. I could play 8. I've got a defend card. I'm gonna lay this defend card down on my turn, so he can't attack me.
Right.
Right. So there's strategy there. I think the mechanics are what we want the attack and defend cards to do. There could be some like creative things.
So castle defense cards, are you playing those in front of you or in front of him?
Castle defense cards are when you draw that card, it must be played.
Right, but I'm saying like how does that work if we're building to our own stack in front of us? You know what I'm saying?
The castle defend, like if you draw a castle defend card, you just pop that in the middle of the board, and whatever that card says, everybody has to take action. So think about it as like you own your set of dragons, and you want to kill the castle.
Right.
That's what each player, like you don't own the castle, you own the dragons. You're trying to defeat the castle. Castle defense is just a random card you draw, and so they like that impacts all of the dragons. So imagine like the set of castles we're trying to go after, because we're trying to go after the same castle, if that makes sense. Just different sets of dragons. The first to attack the castle wins.
Right, so everyone should be playing their dragons in the middle, right?
Yep. And then castle defense could say, giant boulder thrown from the castle. Each player eliminate 1 dragon from your stack. And so everybody that's playing 2 or 4 players has to remove that.
Okay.
Or flaming arrows sent from the castle. Remove 1 card from each player's hand into the discard pile. Like stuff like that where it's just like shit. It's like no strategy. It just like impacts the game.
Sorry, guys, I'm in my fucking throat.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think that was the piece. Is I was trying to visualize the table,
Yeah.
and if you and I are sitting across,
Let's
we're
let's
throwing.
let's bring it up. Let's draw it up.
Okay.
Let's sketch it out of what, like, just visually what the play service would look like. I think that would be important to visualize so we get aligned.
All right. Sorry, my dog is like losing his mind on himself.
He always likes to do that, man. He knows when you're podcasting.
Dude, I know.
He's like, oh, he's streaming. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm gonna do some crazy shit.
yeah. He always does that shit. All right. So let me create a new thing on here. All right. So let's say this is the table. We'll put this can be you. I don't like that brush. This will be you.
I got quite the egghead there.
Yeah. This will be me. That's you. It's me. Okay. So are we saying that in the what's up, big sis? We got a chatter over on Facebook named Lene Stein. That is my sister. Say hi, Chris.
Hola.
Hola, como es bien tú aquí? All right. So, all right, we're on the table, right? And we'll call this. We'll use a little arrow to call this the table. All right. Now you're saying that we have. Let's say that we have like battle mats or something in front of us, right? And then your cards that you're using, those ones, Lene from Ohio. Hi, Chris. She said hi back. So, okay. In the game, so you're going first. Where are you putting... You basically want to put your drag... The way I'm looking at it is that we would have like a big giant castle, something like in the center of the table, right?
Yep.
Imaginary castle in the center of the table. And then from here, like, we're trying to put our cards onto that. We're not trying to put our cards on there. We're putting our dragons in front of us, and it's assumed that they're going into the center of the table, right?
Yeah, but what I would do instead, though, just as an idea, is perhaps the dragons are stacked towards the castle. So the way you've matted it out, imagine instead of horizontal, they go vertical to the castle. So if I'm a opposing player, I can see the 10 more clearly.
Yeah, but then you would need a big table. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking, like, as far as mats go, you could just have a mat that has 10 slots on it, right? Like we just make like a solid, like a really simple mat, and then there's just 10 spots for the cards, and you just put your dragons on there, right? So each one of these.
What would be the functionality of the castle in the middle?
Well, I think that's the thing that I was struggling with, right?
I mean, the thing that you could perhaps you could do is it could come with some type of mat, right? And so you've got your stacks, and then the castle in the middle, you could have an area for your draw pile, your discard pile. So you could do it that way. So it's like a visual element, like you got a cool little castle if somebody like is walking by, they see what you're playing, and then you could have spaces for your piles.
Yeah.
Similar to like unicorns and zombies, Matt. Like we could do it that way. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Question was, could the towers themselves be vertical? That would just be too hard to build, I think. I mean, ideally that'd be rad, right? But it's you got to be able to play it pretty quick. What? Okay, so and again, this is where we're gonna start talking about other games and having to play other games, right? Like if you play Bears versus Babies, right? You have in Bears versus Babies, you have just like the mat in the middle where you're flipping over cards. If you get a baby card, it face down on the color baby that it is, right? Um, and so is it something where we're battling different castles? So every time a castle comes out, do you know what I mean? Like, does the castle have like a power related to it?
I think that adds a level of complexity. Right. Then that takes the mechanics of like why you're stacking dragons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it's. I think that's too much to consider. What you could do is instead of the castle defense card being an action card that takes place that round, impacts all players, that could be changes the dynamics of the castle in some capacity.
Got it.
And so it could be 1 round, or it could be 3 rounds, or it could be through the entire game. And so what you're saying is maybe it changes the castle in some way. It's just not a new castle.
Yeah,
and that's very randomized.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It could. So.
Or here, how about this? The castle defense cards are action cards, but they don't necessarily impact all players. They can be placed by the person who draws it instantly, to impact a player at the table.
I got it.
Whether it be,
I got it. Well, okay.
Go.
So along that same lines, but let's go back to the mats, and let me draw. Let me draw one real quick. Do you like more drawings? All right. So this is your mat, right? And then you have. Well, I'm not gonna draw 10 spaces, but you have spaces, right? And what if you're stacking dragons, so you want to line them up, and you need to get dragons into this spot, right? So you have to have dragons on those cards. Okay, what if the castles themselves were just cards? So in order, like, you and I are both battling to stack these dragons, right? 10 of them. But you can play a castle card on one of my spots. So in order to win, you have to go from left to right. So you have to fill in a dragon in each spot. And an opposing player can throw a castle card in your spot, and you can't lay a dragon down until you get rid of that castle card. So you're actually like, okay, this castle's down, so now you need an attack card that like affects a castle, right? So we're really like, we're getting all the same dragons, and then the base of the game revolves around the defense cards, and then also revolves around like destroying castles. So when you think about like the game, you and I are playing. I have like 3, and I'm getting ready to play 4. You get a castle, and it's like I don't know what kind of castle it is, like Thunder Castle, and you play Thunder Castle on my part, and the only way I can get rid of Thunder Castle is if I have like this whatever the weapon is, or it takes 2, or I can beat the castle by playing 2 dragons, right? So to take that spot, in order to take that one spot, I'd have to play 2 dragons instead of 1, and then that.
So is the mechanics then is I'm preventing you to getting from 10 because I'm playing castles versus actually attacking your dragons?
Yes, because you could then also attack the dragons, right? So you go from left to right, okay?
Yep.
And then let's say I have 6 and you have 4, and then you throw down and you attack one of my dragons that removes it, and now I have 5. I have to play back up in that order. So you could, you know what I mean? So like it's basically like you can keep knocking him down. I have to play in that order, but you could also play an attack card that gets rid of my dragon, and then a castle card that puts it in there. So now I've had to like, okay, I can either play 2 dragons to get rid of a castle, or I can play, if I have this card, I can play this card and it removes the castle. Right? Like fireball could be something where, or dragon's breath, where if you play like a castle card, and then you play down that castle. When you play it down, I have a response time, right? So like X amount of time, I can play like a fireball card, which is like no, you can't play that card. Still a simple mechanic. You're just playing it. You play the castle, I play fireball, destroys the castle, and then I can lay down my dragon. You know what I mean? So castles are really like the preventative piece from you getting your dragon stacked. And you have the mat. Yeah. So you have the mat, right? So you know where they're at because you can see on their mat, like, okay, they got 10. And then as I'm putting one in, right? And I think that in order to play your first and last dragon, you have to have specific dragons, right? So like or unless we just keep it just simple, and it's just like, no, if you have a dragon your first turn, you can just play it.
Yeah, I think we should keep it simple. I'm just trying to think about then, how do you play defense cards?
Defense card, you could have like a section on the mat or in front where the defense cards are like you're stacking yourself up. So like if I put let's see what do we have for defense cards? Was under card types. So you have Shield of Orion. Place this card on top of the stack. Opponent cannot attack dragon stack for 1 turn. So you would still play the defense cards just in front of your mat. So like if you wanted to play, that's where you could have like 7 things, right? So like if I was hoarding up, like let's say Flame Block, place this card on top of the stack. Opponent cannot use any fire attack for 1 turn. So like let's say I had those 2 cards in my hand and I just played them each, because you couldn't play them both on the same turn, right? So I could be like, okay, cool, I'm gonna play like Shield of Orion. Maybe you have Wind Device, block opponent's fire attack. From the Shadows is like hidden. You could play like a hidden card like upside down. But that's all like in order to block it. But you really could only have 2 defense cards at a time.
So I think let's design this mat rough sketch.
All right,
let's just what that would look like and where the card placement would be.
Okay. So your mat would probably be, I think your mat would be like lengthwise. Probably be something like that. Right? Yeah. Then I think for the most part, what do we say? We're gonna have like
10 slots.
Okay, that's not really like the best looking mat, but it's close.
No, that's the official design.
Yeah, this is the official design. Um, okay, so I think that you have this, and then uh, maybe like up here you would have like three spots. So you would have uh, you're putting your dragons in these spots, and then these are your um, defense cards, and so you can only have three. You can only have three defense cards at a time. All right. This is one. Yeah. So then, uh, as you're adding a dragon, and you can only play one dragon per turn, right? Unless a card says that you could play otherwise. So really, this would only ideally last like 10 rounds if someone could never block, right? So in your hand, you have 7 cards, and inside those cards, you're playing whatever you can to like stack. So round one, you play a dragon. Then as soon as you play a dragon, I have the opportunity to do. We'll just call it like the fireball, right? And that can stop you from playing the castle. But if you played the castle, fireball doesn't destroy it. Fireball is only in response to, you can't use it to destroy a castle on your mat. There has to be some form of like no you can't cards. And I think that's like a fireball or a dragon's breath or something.
Yeah.
Because that gives you the opportunity to stop them from playing it. But that would be the same, that would be considered a defense card, right? So like if you played that, then you couldn't put down like flame block on your defense pile.
Does a defense card last one round or duration until it's defeated?
I think it's only one. It's only per round until
I agree.
It can't be. You can't have long running ones. Like there could be a whole table card which would go in the middle, and that's everyone has to do that. But I think that like defense cards are just something that you have to have on your mat, right?
We said you could only play one defense or attack card per turn.
Yeah.
So would we need 3 defense slots?
Yeah, because you could build it up, right? Like you could do. I think that you could do it strategically. Like you could, could we have a defense? Mostly defense cards are like the strong ones, but you also have to have a place to put a weapon card, right? Or what do we say? Castle defense. There's a question asked: does the protection cover all dragons or just one? I mean, all your dragons on the mat would end up being like open game, but I think in terms of like it jumping, like putting a card into play, I think that would be. It would only be protecting. It would only be protecting that one.
Mm-hmm.
But we could also have. I mean,
but how could that? But how could that just do one?
What do you mean?
How are we dictating just by the last dragon that's on the board? That's where the defense card.
So the defense card is so that you can put it in. Okay, it's a great question, and I'm glad you asked it because I fucking have been thinking it through in my head. So a defense card is only affecting the next open space, right? Because I'm defending to be able to throw a card into that spot.
But what about the attack cards where I can attack your dragon?
I think
I can only attack the dragon that you're about to place, not
no. You can attack. You can attack any of them. The defense cards are specifically for empty spots, and then your attack cards. Like I could have Dragon's Breath and play that against an attack card as well. Right? So really in the game it's like a mix of like all these cards, and so like if let's say the deck was like 40, you would basically have like a bunch of um like no cards or cards that allow you to block an incoming card. But I think you're setting up defenses so that you can stack your dragons into the empty spots. But that's what I'm saying. What comes into play is like if you come in and you decide like, okay, I'm going to take out. Let's say I had a dragon here, one here, one here, and one here, and this defense card here was defending this, and then you played a card that blocked it. I would have to figure out how do I get rid of this card, and I think that's where you'd also play your attack cards, right? Your attack cards would be either you can take out someone's dragon, or you're attacking the castle, so you can put your dragon there, anything like that. But
Yeah,
the only cards that you can, like, you could put a castle defense card up here. Like, you could play a defense card and a castle defense card.
So I think that's where we have to figure out the amount of card types we want and how big of a deck this truly is going to be.
Yeah.
Because the way I look at it right now, like the mechanics we just introduced, I get a sense that that would be harder to play out of a single deck. Does that make sense?
Yes and no. I mean, I think you could still play it in a single deck. Everyone's drawing from the same thing. I think that's part of what makes it fast.
So then we would just have to increase the amount of cards.
I just think it's a 60 card deck.
Yeah.
Because when you kill a dragon, it just goes into like a graveyard or something, and then, or you can return the dragon back to the person's hand.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
So let's play out. Let's play out a 2 rounds with theoretical card types based on what we've created or will create. Because I'm trying to get the sense of like the block, defense, attack.
Yeah. I just put up the paper.
Okay. So let's just like bullet point it out by turn. So you and I both start the game with 3 cards we draw.
Okay.
So we can just throw that up there, and let's just create some random set of 3 cards that you and I draw. Let's say you draw a dragon, a defense card, and an attack card.
Okay.
And I draw a dragon,
Yep.
Castle defense, or just what are we calling that? Where you play the castle to block the.
That's just a
castle card, and then another dragon. Let's say.
Okay.
Okay. So turn 1 is you.
Yep. So turn 1, we can play 2 cards at a time, right?
But you can only play 1 dragon
and 1 defense or 1. Yeah. You can only play
one defense or 1 attack.
1 type. But you can play 2 different cards.
Yeah.
So,
or 0 or 1.
Okay, so on turn 1, I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do my dragon.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I do my dragon. My turn 2 would be my defense card, and then that'd be it. Because I don't. I think turn 1 and turn 2 is kind of. Let's turn 1 dragon. Okay, so then I pass to you. You have a dragon, a castle, and a dragon.
Okay, so I would play. So you played what again?
Dragon and defense card.
Did you put that in there? I don't see it on the.
Yeah, it's under game notes.
It's not popping up for me. Scroll down.
Okay, sorry about that. I thought you were looking on paper. I thought you were looking on paper.
Nah, I think it's not. All right, so dragon. So dragon defense card.
Yep.
What defense card is that?
Let's see what kind of card types we got. So under here you wrote Shield of Orion.
Okay. So place this card on top of the stack. Opponent cannot attack a dragon stack for 1 turn.
Yeah. And so remember, I remember our dragon stack are those empty squares.
Yeah. So you're playing that on that first turn.
Uh-huh.
Okay, cool. So on my turn, I see that defense card.
Let me copy this for Shield of Orion. Okay, keep going. I'm listening.
Okay, so I see that defense card, and I would play a dragon.
Yep. And you have one more, or are you gonna hold?
Now here's the thing, I can't attack your dragon, but it says nothing about castle, so I can play a castle on your second slot.
Correct.
So I'm going to play that castle on your second slot. Now we haven't come up with any of these castle cards, so we should probably do that now. Like what kind of castle action that would take. So turn 1, dragon, and then I place a castle on your second slot, dragon slot.
Okay. Well, let's see. What do we have? So we have castle defense. Attack. Defense cards. I just think a castle card is just a fucking castle, and it's literally like you can remove it with a maybe it's like you can remove it with a fireball. I think it just has to. I think it has to be. I don't think we need to keep making it super difficult. I just think that it just screws me up for 1 round because now I have to play an attack card to play a dragon, and if I can't play a dragon.
But do you have to play attack card? So any attack card can defeat a castle and a dragon, or there's certain attack cards that only will work against castles.
I think it's certain attack. I think the deck is full of them, but I think there's only a specific type that removes castles, whether it's like fireball,
so
whatever.
Do that fireball. So let's do dragon fireball. Says instead of removes the top dragon, says removes any castle type.
Well, just remove any castle.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we're gonna have a castle type.
No.
I think it just removes a castle card. And then we could just have
I want Castle Grayskull in there. Is that possible?
Dude, we could just do
get the rights.
No, we could just mock. I could just draw ones that look like old school castles. Okay, yeah. So you play. All right, cool. So you you play a castle card, and then let's just put above are right here. Let's call it a castle, and then use to block a slot. So yeah, in the chat they said fortress and foreboarding.
Okay.
That's good. Okay,
Yeah.
so it makes sense, right? You have dragons attack, defense, castle defense, and castle. And I think that that's where. Okay, so you place a castle on slot 2. Shield of Orion. Are you doing anything to that? No, because you played 2 cards, and then that's it, right?
That's it. But I would say, uh, be after turn 1, you gotta before you pass it to me, you've drawn 2 cards.
You draw 2 cards at the end of the
After-
round, or before.
After you play. Yeah. And then you pass it to me. And so let's list out what those cards you've drawn are.
Okay, so. By the way, do you like that I'm me and you're you?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay. So I played on my last one. I played a dragon and dragon defense, the Shield of Orion, right?
Yeah.
You didn't do any. You didn't do anything with Shield of Orion. So for me, for my upkeep step.
Well, let's list out the cards you draw. You
So let me.
you drew.
I gotta put those up here then.
Yeah.
Draw 2. Let's say I drew.
And I would say draw 2, those 2, and then right down below there list the amount of cards you have in your hand after those 2.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get a sense of like turn by turn, round by round mechanics.
No, I'm with it. I can fuck with it. I can fuck with it, dog. All right, draw 2. What do you think? Let's just say I drew Dragon Fireball.
Sure. A dragon fireball, and then let's say you drew a
Castle
another
Defense.
dragon.
Okay. Okay. So now I have in my hand. What do I have? I have an attack card, Dragon Fireball, and Dragon.
Yep.
So I have 3. Then I pass. Okay. What 2?
And go ahead, list that with the 3, so we know how many what type sits in your hand after the first turn. Dragon, fireball, dragon, and attack.
Oh,
Cool.
we didn't say what kind of attack I had.
No.
We'll say it's a Dragon Tail Whip.
Okay, and that is attack on a dragon, which means
Yeah. So I
remove.
can.
So instead of remove the top dragon, you could just say remove dragon from opponent stack.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess you have to put top. It has to be top. 'Cause you can't go in and if I'm 4 stacked, you can't eliminate the bottom. Like it has to be the top one.
Okay. So we'll say that I have. I gotta remember to scroll up. Okay. So an attack card,
Yep.
Dragon Tail Whip. Okay. Then I passed to you. You played a dragon, and you did a castle on 2. So you still have.
Well, I'm gonna draw 2. So let's create the 2 that I drew.
Okay.
And I have a dragon left. So let's say I get a a defense card.
Yeah, let's give you. Actually, let's do this. Let's give you Dragon Sneak. Let's just see how this hidden one works. Right, that's
And
on.
what's the action for that we created?
So place this card face down on your stack. If opponent does not attack on this turn, reveal the card. Draw 2 additional cards from the draw pile. If opponent does attack, lose a card from your hand. This card is removed.
Okay.
And that's just a regular defense card. So we'll put that. We'll just put it as a lowercase d for defense. Okay, what's your other card you drew?
Let's do a dragon.
So you want another dragon?
Yeah, let's just say let's randomize it to see how that would play out.
Okay. So then you have another dragon, and then you have
that dragon sneak.
Yep.
Okay.
So your total count is 3, right?
As well. Yep.
Okay. And then so now on my upkeep, we have to I have to discard I have to discard the Shield of Orion. Right? Okay. And then now...
Wait, no.
Yeah, because Shield of Orion is only good for 1 round.
Yeah, okay. Got it. Yeah.
So the upkeep is removing cards that were only good for 1 round.
Yeah.
Right? And then so now we're on turn 2. What do you think? So my first turn, I played Dragon in defense. The defense card didn't do shit. I lost that. And then so
I would say upkeep, and then the next line I would do current mat status. Like what is on your mat right now? Because you placed the dragon, so you have 1 dragon.
we'll just keep it at simple as far as like stack 1.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, actually, we'll do it this way. Dragon, castle. Because you blocked it, remember?
Yeah.
Okay, so turn 2. Let's see. Right now I have a fireball, a dragon, and attack dragon tail whip.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to play my dragon fireball.
Okay. Because you can't play a dragon right now because the castle. I placed the castle in your second dragon slot.
Right.
Okay.
And then what does my attack dragon tail whip do? What does that do? Remove top dragon from opponent's stack. Okay. So I am going to play that card.
Now we said the mechanics would be you could only play 1 attack or 1 defense per turn, and then 1 dragon. Do we want to change that?
Well, do you want to do that or just 1 card type? I feel like 1 card type allows you to have the game fucking actually go somewhere.
So 1 card type, but isn't Dragon Fireball an attack card? Or what would that be?
No, you're right. Yep, you're right. It is an attack card. Yep.
So you wouldn't be able to play another attack on this turn.
So
you could play defense and you could play dragon as your secondary.
I don't have a defense card, right? I only have a dragon fireball, and a dragon attack. All right, so
Okay.
so I'll play. I'm just gonna get rid of my dragon.
Okay.
Dragon. And then my draw. My draw.
I would put after Dragon Fireball, I would put in parentheses, castle is removed. So we know that that card resulted in that action. Perfect.
Okay. So my draw two. I'll let you pick. What do you give me?
Let's do a defense.
Dragon's Bluff.
Sure.
Okay, we'll do a defense for Dragon's Bluff, and then what else?
Yep.
What else you give me?
And
Let's see. You want to do a castle defense? See how those play.
I thought we weren't doing the castle defense because we're using the castle as kind of like a
Oh right,
stalled
okay.
component.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so that is even play. So I would do throw in another attack card.
Do Dragon's Breath.
All right. Cool. Okay.
So my card count is. I now have these cards, and I still have a dragon from previous hand. No, I have.
Okay.
I don't. I have Dragon Tail Whip.
Okay.
That is. Okay, do I have any other cards in my hand? No, I had the Dragon Fireball. My turn 2, I used that. And I used a dragon. Okay, so my card count is still 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then do I update? No, I don't update the stack yet. Oh yeah, I have to update the stack, right? Yep.
That's it. Cool. So it's my turn. And what was my...
Hang on real
I don't
quick.
have any upkeep, right? Because I didn't have anything.
Yeah, I'm writing all these down real quick before we type, just so I don't have to.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a few rounds. We got a few rounds.
Okay.
Okay. So for you, your upkeep, you have none, right? Because would you have in your last one? So we'll do nothing. What's on your stack? You have a dragon. That's it, right?
That's it.
Okay, and then your turn two. What do you?
I have a dragon. I have a dragon. I have two dragons and I have a dragon sneak. So I'm gonna place a dragon. Place a dragon,
Mhm.
and then I'm gonna place that dragon sneak hidden card. So you don't know what that is because it's face down. Okay.
Okay.
And then I'll draw two.
All right. Let's give you. We're gonna give you dragon magic.
Okay.
And then we'll give you. No, we were playing Castle Defense as the one that affects everyone. That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's
But I
what,
don't think we need that. Do you think we need that?
where it affects everybody.
Yeah.
Uh,
We could.
I mean, we either could or we could just throw that into. No, I think we need it. We need the random.
Okay.
Like you always need to be fighting a third person somehow, right?
Okay.
That's where.
All right.
So I think we're gonna give you a castle defense. We'll give you an error.
But those are instant plays.
Yeah.
So I draw that and then play it
Right.
automatically, but then I draw another card afterwards.
No, I think it fucks your hand up.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because even worse, right? Like, if you were able to like redraw after you played that, it wouldn't, because you could get in an endless cycle, right?
Yeah.
So you want to remove that possibility, because like, what if the next three cards were Castle Defense, right? Where it's like stacking dragons, you're fighting against a castle, right? That's like our invisible opponent is a castle, as well as everyone else. So the castle has to be able to fucking throw random shit in there too. We're gonna do Arrows of Might, and then so you got a CD, you got Arrows of Might, and then instant. You had to play that. Okay.
Okay, so then my card count then is dragon. Only one dragon on my stack. And then dragon magic. Wait, hold on. Let's see. Is that right? I had a... No. Stack dragon. Turn to dragon.
So you before this turn had dragon sneak.
Okay.
You played dragon and dragon sneak, so you have a dragon and dragon magic. So you're correct. So your card count is
Okay.
2. And then what's on your stack? I updated your stack already. So you have a
Only
dragon.
one dragon.
Yeah, you
not
have to,
two, because arrows of might would have removed a dragon from both of our stacks.
right. Okay. So we'll get rid of this one,
Yep.
and then you pass, right?
Yep.
Okay. That's a pretty cool round. That's good, right?
I think it's cool. Yeah. And again, we're like, this is ideal scenario where we're getting some attack. Like as you said, there may be where I have I'm sitting on a bunch of defense, or I only have dragons, and so I may hold on playing those. And so my hand size may increase up to 7 if I want.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, you want to do like another round?
I think I think that was good. I think
Yeah.
it helped us understand the flow
Yep.
of what each turn would look like. So I think we do have I have a much clearer understanding of that.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll keep that in. We'll keep that in there just
Mm-hmm.
for the sake of keeping it in there.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. All right. So So is there the playmat? I think that the playmat is just what we said, right?
Yep.
And actually, I'll be right back. I'm gonna actually grab a mat that I have an idea on. 1 second.
Cool.
Because you can keep talking, like you're still talking to the audience.
Hey, audience. We'll be right back. Well, Jason, we'll be right back.
He's back. Okay, so this is. I will block it, but everyone will probably know just from the artwork. So this is a mat size that seems to be pretty good. Still portable. On this one, this big of a mat has 7 across. So I think our mat, we can shorten it and do 5 on top and then 5 on the bottom. Right?
Yeah.
Or yeah, so we'd have to do 5 on top, 5 on the bottom, and then also above that would have to be the defense spots.
Mm-hmm.
So the mat would be probably like this big, maybe just like a little bit just like wider, right? Yeah. So I think that's good because you have to have a spot for cast for. Well, you wouldn't need a spot for Castle Defense, but you do need one for your defense cards.
Yeah.
And then also too, you don't need the mat to play, right? Well, you will, because that's how we're gonna sell it with that. So whatever. Okay. Cool, man. What else we got?
Well, I think defining next steps for our next episode, and we're excited to announce that when we first started this journey last week, we agreed that we would provide you all with updates every Sunday. But as things start getting flowing, we're going to introduce the concept of twice a week. So that's really exciting. We'll figure out kind of a day. It could be the same day during the week, or it could be like mixed days. So definitely stay tuned for updates on which day that is going to be, but probably sometime middle of the week. And then obviously we'll stick to our Sunday rhythm. But I think Jason, you're on the road of defining our characters, and so I'm excited to see more dragons as they come along.
Yeah.
And I think that behind the scenes, start working now that we've defined the 4 different types of card types. We've already got some things, as you all have seen. I think we need to start creating and locking in some of the actions associated with each attack, defense, castle, and then the castle defense, which impacts the entire game.
Yeah.
So I can start working through that, obviously, and we'll provide updates over the next few days. And I think in addition to creating the dragons, it'd be cool if we start thinking about what the mat looks like. So start creating some designs for the mat so we can get get some type of first draft prototype, if you will. And I think it'd be cool. Hopefully, if not the middle of this week, maybe next weekend, we'll see to get one of the creators on of a game, or somebody who is passionate, just to get a third person on here to start talking about some stuff. So we'll see what that looks like, but that'd be very cool for our next episode to have kind of another voice to chime in.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of the actionable next steps for us, as we segue towards the third installment of Board to Dev.
Yeah, and we're gonna probably on the podcast. Obviously, you being on here and watching it live, you're gonna get everything. You're gonna be able to subscribe to the podcast, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you can get it. That's going up this week. But I think the audio podcasts are gonna be a little bit different. Like if you look at this podcast like what we're doing right now, we're at an hour and 32 minutes. I don't think that the podcasts need to be an hour and 32 minutes. So probably break each of these sessions up into two different podcasts, maybe depending on how long they are, and putting that out there just so there's something for you to kind of like look at. But yeah, we're gonna go live again probably next week, or this week for sure, sometime during this week. But we'll be on even more platforms live. For everybody that stopped by and suggestions, Chris and I are going to look into Mafia 2 for sure. That sounds awesome. Lene, thank you for your feedback and input. But again, we will see you guys this coming week. Not sure when. Chris, do you have an idea of a day that works best for you, or do we just
probably middle of the week? I would say we'll send updates.
Maybe Wednesday. I think from us here, like, thank you so much for stopping by. It was very, very fun. Again, as always, we try to keep as much of the talking to this podcast, but we do need to continue to push it forward. So we will catch you up as to where we're at, or maybe we'll start it depending. But yeah, from myself, thank you very much for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks. See you in a few days. Thanks for checking us out.
Adios.